October 7th, 1780. Deep within the misty mountains of North Carolina, the world's most powerful empire prepared for an easy victory. Their arrogant commander declared that even God himself could not force his army off King's Mountain. He was dead wrong. In just 65 minutes, his entire force was completely destroyed, not by trained soldiers, but by 1,000 ordinary mountain farmers. Welcome back to the channel. How did untrained frontiersmen annihilate an elite British regiment in under 1 hour? Let's find out. This is the forgotten story of King's Mountain, the tactical masterclass that saved the entire American Revolution from total defeat. To understand this shocking victory, we must go back to the darkest summer of the American Revolutionary War. British forces had captured major southern ports and were crushing all continental resistance with ruthless efficiency. General Cornwallis believed the southern countryside was fully secured, leaving only isolated mountain settlements untouched. But those isolated mountain settlements held a secret weapon: men who would rather die than live under tyranny. In the summer of 1780, British Major Patrick Ferguson was tasked with subjugating the western backcountry of North Carolina. Ferguson was a brilliant officer, renowned for inventing the Ferguson rifle and commanding a formidable loyalist army. He marched through colonial towns, forcing loyalist oaths and recruiting thousands of loyal colonists to the British cause. Those who refused were stripped of their land, livestock, and homes, creating widespread misery across the region. Beyond the Blue Ridge Mountains lived independent settlers. They thought they were safe from the war's destruction. These frontier families built self-sufficient communities, hunting game and farming deep in the wilderness, far from royal authority. But Major Ferguson viewed these independent backcountry settlers as dangerous rebels who needed to be broken. In September 1780, Ferguson sent a captured patriot paroled back over the mountains with a terrifying written message. The message warned that if they did not lay down their arms, Ferguson would march his army over the mountains. He threatened to hang their leaders, burn their homes, and lay waste to their settlements with fire and sword. Ferguson intended to terrify the frontiersmen into submission, but his ultimatum triggered the exact opposite reaction. Instead of fear, the threat sparked burning fury throughout every cabin and settlement across the backcountry. Colonel John Sevier and Isaac Shelby immediately sent horse couriers to assemble every able-bodied man across the region.
Every man must take up arms!
Men left their plows in the fields, grabbed their hunting gear, and prepared to fight for their family's survival. They agreed on a central rendezvous point, Sycamore Shoals, located along the banks of the Watauga River. On September 25, over 1,000 mountain men assembled.
Move the horses forward!
They brought horses, long rifles, and basic rations. Reverend Samuel Doak delivered a famous sermon, calling upon them to swing the sword of the Lord and Gideon. With prayers finished, this impromptu army rode out into the wilderness, determined to destroy Ferguson before he reached them. These men were known as the Over-Mountain Men, a unique force unlike any military unit in the British Empire. They wore no uniforms, carried no bayonets, received no pay, and operated without formal military ranks. But every single man was an expert woodsman who had survived years of harsh frontier living and wilderness combat. Their primary weapon was the Pennsylvania long rifle, a custom hunting rifle crafted by frontier gunsmiths. Unlike British smoothbore muskets, which were inaccurate beyond 50 yards, these rifles possessed spiral grooves inside the barrel. This rifling spun the lead bullet, giving frontier shooters lethal accuracy at distances exceeding 200 yards. They rode through freezing snowstorms over high mountain passes, pushing their horses to the absolute limit of endurance. To keep their gunpowder dry in the snow, the men wrapped their rifle locks in blankets and deer hides. As they descended the eastern slopes, local militia groups from North Carolina and Virginia joined the growing column. Colonel William Campbell of Virginia was chosen by unanimous vote to assume overall operational command of the combined force. Meanwhile, Major Ferguson received intelligence that a massive swarm of mountain men was hunting his force down. Surprised by the speed of their mobilization, Ferguson began retreating east toward the main British army at Charlotte. He sent urgent couriers to General Cornwallis requesting reinforcements, but the messages were intercepted by Patriot scouts. Realizing he could not outrun the mounted pursuers, Ferguson selected a strong defensive position to make a stand. The ridge crest was flat and cleared of timber, providing an ideal platform for Loyalist infantry formations and supply wagons. He chose Kings Mountain, a steep, rocky ridge rising 60 feet above the surrounding forest floor near South Carolina. Ferguson boasted that the steep, rocky slopes made the hill an impregnable fortress that no rebel force could scale. Learning that Ferguson had halted at Kings Mountain, Colonel Campbell selected 900 of his fastest mounted riflemen. They rode through 36 hours of continuous rain without stopping, determined to strike before Ferguson could move again. On the afternoon of October 7, the rain finally stopped and the sun broke through over Kings Mountain. The mountain men arrived at the base of the ridge, completely undetected by British sentries posted above. The Patriot commanders met briefly at the base of the ridge to finalize a simple but devastating tactical plan. They divided their 900 men into 4 distinct tactical columns to surround the ridge from every direction. Campbell and Shelby commanded the center columns, while Sevier and Cleveland wrapped around the eastern and western flanks. The plan was to encircle the hill completely, trapping Ferguson's entire army with no route for escape. Colonel Campbell gave a simple final instruction to his men. Shout like hell and fight like devils. The mountain men dismounted, tied their horses to trees, and advanced quietly up the forested slopes using natural cover. They utilized Indian-style woodland tactics, moving from tree to tree while keeping completely silent under the forest canopy. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Patriot advance units engaged Loyalist pickets near the crest of the ridge. Startled by the sudden gunfire, Major Ferguson blew Hamas' silver whistle to signal his Loyalist troops to arms. Loyalist infantry rushed into tight rank formations on the cleared mountain crest, preparing for a standard battle. Ferguson believed his elevated position and disciplined volley fire would easily drive off the unorganized militia below.
But as the Loyalists looked down, they realized the surrounding forest was crawling with hundreds of riflemen. Campbell's Virginians charged up the southern slope, screaming fierce mountain war whoops that echoed across the valley.
Loyalist regiments delivered a massive volley fire downhill, but most of their lead bullets passed harmlessly overhead. Firing downhill in battle usually caused infantry to overshoot, as bullets sailed harmlessly above the climbing riflemen. From behind trees and rocks, the Over-Mountain men took steady, deliberate aim at the exposed Loyalist lines above. Long rifles cracked continuously, picking off Loyalist officers and sergeant leaders who stood clearly visible on the crest. Seeing his ranks thinning, Ferguson ordered a desperate bayonet charge down the steep southern slope. Lacking bayonets of their own, Campbell's Virginians followed orders and retreated slowly down the hill into deep woods. As the Loyalists pursued Campbell down the hill, Isaac Shelby's column struck them unexpectedly from the opposite flank. The Loyalists were forced to halt their bayonet charge and turn around to meet this new threat climbing behind them. The moment the Loyalists turned, Campbell's men reloaded, turned around, and charged right back up the mountain. This leapfrog tactic was repeated 3 separate times, exhausting the Loyalist infantry and completely shattering their tactical cohesion. Like a tightening ring of iron, the 4 Patriot columns pushed up all sides of Kings Mountain simultaneously. By 3:30 p.m., 30 minutes into the battle, Ferguson's perimeter was compressed into a tiny space at the hilltop. The Loyalists were completely surrounded, caught in a deadly crossfire coming from trees on every side of the ridge. Loyalist artillery pieces were positioned on the hilltop, but riflemen picked off the gunners before they could fire effectively. Ferguson rode frantically along his collapsing perimeter on his white horse, blowing his silver whistle to encourage his men. Wearing a bright checkered hunting shirt over his uniform, Ferguson made himself an easily recognizable target for frontier marksmen.
Forward! Press them back across the ravine!
Several Loyalist officers realized their position was hopeless and raised white flags to surrender to the advancing militia. Furious at the sight of surrender, Ferguson rode up and cut down the white flags with his iron sword. He declared to his remaining officers that he would never surrender to rebel banditti under any circumstances whatsoever. Realizing the perimeter was breaking, Ferguson drew his sword and led a final desperate cavalry charge towards Severe's line. As Ferguson charged into the tree line, multiple frontier marksmen spotted the checkered shirt and opened fire simultaneously. Struck by multiple rifle balls, Major Ferguson fell from his white horse, his foot catching in the stirrup. With their legendary commander gone, total panic swept through the remaining Loyalist ranks trapped on the rocky summit. Captain Abraham de Peyster took command and immediately raised a white flag, shouting for quarter and an end to firing. Remembering Ferguson's brutal threats, some mountain men continued firing until Colonel Campbell rode forward shouting,
"Cease fire! Cease fire!"
"For God's sake, boys, cease firing! They have laid down their arms and surrendered." The firing slowly died down, leaving a heavy silence over the smoke-shrouded mountain ridge. The entire battle had lasted exactly 65 minutes, from the first shot to the final Loyalist surrender. Ferguson's entire force of over 1,000 men was completely accounted for, killed, wounded, or captured. By contrast, the Patriot militia suffered minimal casualties, 28 men lost and 62 wounded during the charge. The Overmountain men collected captured Loyalist rifles, supply wagons, and military gear from the summit. Knowing Cornwallis might send cavalry pursuers, Campbell prepared his men to march back over the mountains immediately. When news of the catastrophic disaster reached General Cornwallis in Charlotte, he was paralyzed with shock and disbelief. The loss of Ferguson's entire flank army completely destroyed Cornwallis's strategic plans for invading North Carolina. Fearing further attacks from mountain riflemen, Cornwallis ordered a retreat back into South Carolina to regroup. The victory at Kings Mountain instantly lifted Patriot morale across all 13 colonies during its darkest hour. Future President Thomas Jefferson called Kings Mountain the decisive turn of the tide that saved the American Revolution. General Henry Clinton later admitted that the battle was the first link in a chain of events that lost Britain America. Having accomplished their mission, the Overmountain men dissolved back into the mountain wilderness, returning quiet to their family farms. They asked for no military pensions, no titles, and no recognition, leaving their heroic story buried under decades of history. Yet in just 65 minutes, these untrained mountain farmers executed one of the most brilliant tactical victories in military history. They proved that when ordinary citizens unite to defend their homes, even the world's greatest military power cannot stand against them. Today, Kings Mountain stands as a quiet national military park, preserving the wooded slopes where freedom was saved. The long hunting rifles of the Overmountain men remain eternal symbols of frontier independence and tactical brilliant strategy. What do you think was the biggest tactical mistake made by Major Ferguson at Kings Mountain? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into forgotten military history, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now.